Well, good morning, YouTube friends and family, and welcome to today's edition of the Wellness Homesteader. So today I am using, finally, my new camera. So please excuse the lighting. I taped this segment without the microphone turned on. Operator error. I am not a person that reads directions. I usually just fiddle with it till I get it done. So today we are going to be making another recipe out of the Harvest Baker, and I'm super excited to bring you this one because it's everything biscuits. So into this bowl I have placed 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/2 cup of cornmeal. To that I've added a tablespoon of cornstarch, a tablespoon of sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I then ran it through a sifter twice, so you want to get everything really well incorporated. Once you've gotten that done, you want to take 4 tablespoons of cold butter, put them in little pieces, use your pastry cutter, cut that butter right into that flour until you have coarse crumbs like this, and then I'm going to pop this in the fridge, bring you right back. We're going to head over to the stove, and hopefully I won't be cutting the top of my head off, so stay tuned. Well, welcome back. You find me over at the stove. I had a little disaster with my ring light, guys, and yep, my head's still cut off, but really the important thing is I want you to see what I'm doing here at the stove, not really look at me. So what I have in the pan here is about 1/2 of a large onion, and I'm just sauteing this in a drizzle of EVOO or extra virgin olive oil until it is tender. Kind of sweat those onions out. Then to that we are going to add about 1 carrot, and then we are going to wilt 6 cups of spinach. Top it all off at the very end with a little bit of garlic, salt, and pepper, and then we're going to set those aside to cool. So I thought I would just keep you with me here for a few minutes. These onions are nice and translucent, actually a little browned. So let's add our carrot, and I put everything on the same cutting board, so it's a little mixed up, but that's okay. It's cooking. It's not a science exactly. So this is a great way to use up odds and ends of leftover vegetables, but these biscuits are going to be so delicious. So if you prefer a different green, I'm sure you can use that. And just put the spinach in here to wilt. If you prefer to add some celery or different spices to your biscuits, I'm sure you could do that as well. And that's one of the things I love about this cookbook, is that it really affords you ideas that you can use with things you have on hand based on the season. So I'm going to let this spinach wilt down. I'm going to keep stirring, and then I will bring you back when we're ready for the next step, so stay tuned. Well, I've managed to duct tape my ring light, so let's pray that it holds through the video. So at this point in time, you are going to want to go ahead and preheat your oven to 425. Get yourself a large cookie sheet, baking sheet, and you can use either parchment paper or tin foil. They do recommend that you butter it, so I've just lightly buttered this. Now we have our crumb mixture, and we are going to make a well or a hole in the center. And to that, we are going to add 3/4 cup of buttermilk with 2 additional tablespoons of buttermilk. And we're just going to mix this until it is incorporated. So, kind of the secret to any tender biscuit or even yeast bread, but particularly what this would be classified as a quick bread, you don't want to overdo it, because then the dough becomes tough and it makes the gluten in the flour activate more, so things can be rubbery and not as good as you would like. So now that we've done that, we're going to add to it our cooled vegetables. So I just cooled mine on the cutting board. And this is going to add some moisture. The directions did say to make sure you cook your veg till all of the moisture is out. So I'm just going to start getting that incorporated, and now we are going to add a whole cup of cheddar cheese, and then I am going to also add some Parmesan cheese to this. And this is not the powdered Parmesan, this is the shredded Parmesan. So that was kind of a scant cup, and I like cheese. Okay, so it's pretty hard to work at this point, but just get in there and mix it around. And doesn't that look simply amazing? And it smells very good. I can smell the garlic in there particularly. And it's just a great use. You could put your garden herbs in there too. I'm going to be a purist this time, and I'm going to actually make this as the recipe says, which is sort of a rarity for me if you've watched my channel for very long. So, drop me a comment below if you would, please. If you are a YouTuber or you use ring lights, what's your favorite? Because I have a feeling I'm going to be buying a new one, because duct tape is not a great solution. So I'm just going to dust a little bit of flour onto my very clean counter, and then I am going to distribute all this dough. And I see just a little dry ingredient in the bottom. I'm just going to gather that up onto a wetter piece of dough, because we're going to work this just a little bit so that we can cut it into our biscuits. So, can y'all see? And wow, let me wash my hands so I can get a little bit more flour. So it says in the recipe that this is not a typical biscuit dough. It's going to be a lot denser and feel a lot different. So keep that in mind. It certainly does not knead up like you would expect a biscuit dough would. But oh my goodness, guys, does that ever smell good. So let me scooch you back a little bit. Okay, there we go. Now, it says about 1 inch thickness. So I'm not going to use rolling pin. I'm just going to pat it. The dough is certainly pliable enough to be able to do that. Don't want to waste it and leave it on the spoon. Wash my hands again. So we have a very overcast day today, but it is not raining, so I'm still hoping to get out into the garden in a bit. I will drop a link to these below. These are 12 cookie cutters in like every size you could possibly want. And I'm going to go about this big. It says 2 inch. I want it a little bit bigger. So that's probably a 2.5 inch. So just cut your biscuits out of your dough. And when I get a few cut, I'm going to get, ooh, that is sticky dough. You may want to dip your cookie cutter, yeah, you do, in a little flour. Oh yeah, much better. But you know, biscuits don't have to be perfect. What I'm finding with this cookbook is that the recipes are really rustic, and I love that. It's very much my style of cooking, and I don't mind that things don't look like they came out of a magazine. I don't mind that at all. Now, I use my handy dandy Christmas pie cutter and transfer these to the baking sheet, and I'll show you here in just a minute. And then the dough that we have not used, I am going to re-pat out, because we certainly don't want to waste any of this biscuit deliciousness. Yeah, I would say heavily flour your surface that you're going to cut your biscuits on. I could have gone a little heavier with the flour, for sure. And then you're going to have pieces of spinach sticking out. That's okay. That's going to be delish. And how healthy is this? This is going to be almost like a meal biscuit rather than just a side biscuit. And most days I concentrate on my vegetable intake. Not a good fruit eater, but I am trying. I've been putting a lot of fruit into my smoothies in the morning, and that has really helped me get some fruit into my diet. Okay, I think I can get 3 out of this, and then 1 oddball. When I was a kid growing up, my sister and I would fight over the oddball biscuit. Why? I don't know. It tasted just like all the other biscuits, but I guess we thought it was like special or better with the leftover dough. So I just kind of pressed that into a biscuit shape. I have 1 more piece. This will be a little bit smaller, but that's fine. We're not done. So now what we need to do is wash our hands again. And we're going to put a glaze on those biscuits. And we're going to put more cheese on those biscuits. So they're going to be super delicious. Let me, instead of sitting this whole tray on the flour, I will just set it on top of this tin. So what I have here is 1 egg with about a teaspoon of water, just beaten together. I've got a pastry brush, and I'm just going to brush some egg on here, because we are going to sprinkle these not only with cheese, but you can use any kind of seeds, but I have everything bagel seasoning, and that's what, you know, if they're everything biscuits, why not put everything bagel on it? I love everything bagel on bread, on baguettes, on bagels, on everything. It is not just for bagels, that's for sure. So this will also help your biscuits to be a really nice golden brown. And yeah, ooh, they look good enough to eat, don't they? So I'm actually going to put the everything bagel on first. Just, you know, however you want it, however much or little you want. And then you want to generously top each biscuit with your cheese. And then it will go into the oven for 18 to 22 minutes. And because these are a dense bread, I would say you need to check on them to make sure that they are truly done in the center and you don't end up with the doughy center. So I'm going to keep putting cheese on, and I will bring you back very soon to show you our finished everything biscuits. Well, our delicious biscuits have come out of the oven. I did cook mine the full 22 minutes on convect. I've already plated up a couple for the thumbnail, of course, but let's have a taste of these delicious biscuits, perfectly browned on the bottom, and you definitely need to butter your foil or they will stick. So here we go. Guys, this is absolutely delicious. It still tastes like a biscuit, definitely. But lots of savory, delicious vegetables. I can see these as an accompaniment for a late dinner with a salad, as, you know, a savory accompaniment to a meal. They are absolutely delicious. It's still warm. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I hope this comes out. A little duct tape, I fixed my ring light, so I'm kind of out of the emergency state, but I'm going to be ordering a new one. So as always, be healthy, be well, be blessed, and I'll see you all very soon. Take care.